Hello, everyone. My name is Tiara Vaught, and I am in Miss Brundage's Early Child Care Education 1101 course. I am coming before you today to speak about the Perry Preschool Project. I chose the Perry Preschool Project because I felt like with no prior information about it, I felt like it could be very informational and really informative and interesting. So I chose it from the list, and I was absolutely right. I enjoyed learning about the Perry Preschool Project. I hope everyone is happy and healthy as we're going through this time. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused a lot of, changes, and a lot of people are just trying to keep up and do the best they can in this situation. But in the midst of everything, I feel like we are doing fine. So my task at hand today is to speak to you about the Perry Preschool Project. So a little background. The Perry Preschool Project was carried out between 1962 and 1967. So it was a 5-year experiment, 5-year observational trial. It was a longitudinal study, and if you're not familiar with longitudinal studies, a longitudinal studies is it's an observational research method in which a person or people are observed. Data is collected for whatever the purpose is. Over a period of time. So the period of time could be years. The period of time could be decades. So as you'll see as I speak to you today about the Perry Preschool Project, this longitudinal study, the observation was done over 5 years, and there were checkpoints where they came back and they revisited the people in the study, and they collected more information to see how they progressed. They did that a couple of times. So Perry Preschool Project done between 1962 and 1967. It was done by a man named David Weichert. He was a visionary. And obviously, he realized that there was a gap, educational gap, learning gap in the United States between certain cultures, races, ethnicities of children. The Perry Preschool Project was carried out at Perry Elementary, hence the name. The principal there at the time was Eugene Beatty, and he was so gracious enough to lend his school for this study. So what the study was, there were between 123 and 128 African American students between the ages of 3 and 4. They participated, their parents allowed them to participate in a randomized study. It was a controlled trial. So the people who were carrying out the study knew, there were going to be certain children in one group and there were going to be certain children in the other group, but it was randomized. So they just chose randomly who would be in the group, and it was controlled because they knew exactly what the children were going to be doing or not doing in each group. So the children were all African American, and the study was done because there was and there is educational gap between African American students and their counterparts, be that Hispanic, Caucasian, Asian. There's a gap. There was a gap. So the study was to assess the children who could potentially be at high risk for not graduating from high school, not performing well as adults economically, and crime prevention, like would they be in trouble in their lives based on what type of schooling they receive when they are younger, and as far as their family, how do they value their family, how do they take on responsibility, and they, from this study, I think they felt like we could make a difference in the students' lives. So the study, the method, the plan was to take these between 123 and 128 students and take 58 of those students approximately and put them in a group and have them receive quality care. And when we speak about quality care, if we go from what we've read in the textbook, quality care has everything to do with the teachers and their level of education, their level of willingness, the ratios, and whether they are actually there to help the children, reach the children, has a lot to do with it. People who are qualified, people who are ready, people who observe, people who assess the children, people who teach and find teaching fun and make it fun for their children, and just are very involved and educated about what they're teaching. So when we speak about quality, we speak about the willingness of a teacher to teach, and how well they reach their students, how much they're motivated, and how much they do make a difference in their students. So we have 58 students in the quality care group, and then you have approximately 65 students who are in a group that did not receive quality care. So you have two very distinct groups, and they're going to carry out this quality care as opposed to non-quality care, if you want to call it that, and see how these children progress throughout their lives. So the findings. So as far as education goes, the group that received quality care, 77% of those children graduated from high school. 77% is great. That's a pretty high percentage. And the group that received no quality care, 60% of those students graduated from high school, which that's not bad, 60% out of 100%. But you can tell 77% graduated who were receiving quality care. So it's 17% difference where the quality care students graduated at a higher rate. And economic performance, you had 76% of the students in the quality care, they were employed still, or employed period, by the age 40, whereas only 40% of the students from the group that didn't have the quality care, 40% of those people were employed by the age of 40. As far as crime prevention, it was noted that 36% of the students in the quality care group were arrested 5 times or more, whereas 55% of the students that had no quality care, 55% of those students, over half of those students, were arrested 5 times or more. That's a 20% difference, a little less than 20% difference. That's a huge, for me, I feel like that's a huge difference. As far as health, family, and children, 57% of males raise their own children. That's for the quality group, whereas 30% of the males in the group that received no quality care, 30% of those people, those males did raise their children. So you have over half, almost 60% of the quality care students males raising their students, and 30% of the males who received no quality care. So overall, the findings are very telling. The students who received the quality care did fare better in life, and it can't be a coincidence that the students who got the quality care did better, because these students came from relatively same background, same area. So their environment was very similar. So to say that the only thing really that was different was this study is very telling, and it makes the argument that if you receive quality care when you are young, that in years to come you could or will fare better in life. How this study shaped early child care, the findings were that the whole idea that if you intervene into a child's life early, that it will absolutely help them to be better or to fare better in life, as it pertains to education, as it pertains to family, as it pertains to crime prevention. The project was set up so that it could affect the children's attitudes. It could affect their dispositions, just their thought process about school. In my experience, I've had students that just absolutely hate school. They don't want to be there. They're not motivated by being there. And a lot of times they don't know why they're there. They don't think that school will help them. They can't see how school will help them. They see it as a hindrance. But programs like the Perry Preschool Project attempt to change the child's attitude towards learning and towards school. Because if you do that, if you give them a good reason why they should be there, they will absolutely think differently about school. Finally, it's believed that if you change a child's perception on how they view school, that it will improve them over a longer period of time instead of just making them think that they have to improve on their immediate school achievement. So a lot of kids think that, oh my goodness, I have to learn this because I have to pass this test or else. And if their mind is geared to where they think, hey, you know what, this is going to help me in my life. It's not just about a test. It's about what I'm going to be when I grow up, how I'm going to treat people, what I'm going to know, and just being a better person overall. So this is for me. I loved learning about the Perry Preschool Project because it's so relevant. It's so relevant still now because you have children who still do not like school. They don't want to go there. They don't see the point. But with quality care and giving them something that helps them to know that school is good, learning is good, and it can be fun, this helps them and motivates them to want to be there. And when a child wants to be somewhere, they'll thrive. They'll thrive. And when given quality care, as the Perry Preschool Project reveals, when given quality care, children will and they can thrive. I hope you've learned from this presentation. I have a Kahoot game that will be attached to my presentation. I thank you so much for your time. And once again, stay happy, safe, and healthy. Have a great day.